Okay, you may or may not recognize this place behind me. It is beautiful Stockholm. And I was here about 4 months ago, but this time it's very, very different. Last time we came in the middle of winter and these streets were covered with snow. It was freezing cold. We spent a lot of time indoors, but this time we're going to be doing something very, very different. In the last time I was here, the last videos I made here, we explored the city a lot and spent a lot of time in the streets. This time we're doing what Stockholm is known best for, and we're going to get on the water. We're going to take a boat tour for about 2 hours out to an island called Björkö, which has a Viking village on it called Björkö. It's going to be very, very unique. So come with me, let's see how the day plays out. See that tall building behind me over there? That's where I've got to get to. That's the city hall, and the dock where the boat's going to be leaving from is right there at the bottom. So I'm going to be heading in that general direction now. And here's my boat, the Victoria. Looks good. So we are currently somewhere over there, and we are going to there, Björkö, and that's the Viking island. Should be really interesting.
5,000 years ago, the water level was about 25 meters higher than it is today. But it wasn't actually the water level that was so much higher, it was the land that was so much lower.
Och det enda som han lämnade kvar åt sina fiender, det var sin hatt. Men självklart så överlevde både kungen och hästen det här dramatiska hoppet. Och den här kungen, det sägs vara Uppsala-kungen Erik Emundsson. Men han är mer känd som Erik Väderhatt. För det sades också att han kunde kontrollera vädret med sin hatt.
One of the things I found amazing about some of these European cities is just how densely populated they are. Where I live, even though there are, more than 1 million people in my city and more than 4 million people in some of the other cities in South Africa, no one really builds up. If the city's going to expand, it moves outwards. So even in the city centre areas, you don't find buildings like this which are built up and are fairly densely populated. So I'm just finding it really interesting to look out and see some of the apartment buildings that are built up. When you look at Stockholm from a map, it doesn't look like such a big city, but when you're in the middle of it and you realize how densely populated it is, it really changes your perspective. So our tour starts here in the Viking Museum. It's a big wooden building with all kinds of historical artifacts, model boats, model towns, and just allows you to kind of get familiar with the Viking culture before you head out on the guided tour. Now, the English guided tour is only in about an hour, but that gives us a bit of time to kind of just explore this area. There's a little shop here where we can look at some little gifts and curios and stuff like that. But then there's also little trails you can walk on as well. So we're probably going to do a bit of exploring before the guided tour comes, and even have some food at the restaurant here.
There are guided tours in both Swedish and English. The English tour only starts in about an hour though, so I take some time out to buy some magic potion, or coffee as it's now known, from the village druid, and I charge my camera battery a bit.
Oh my word, take a look at this. This is funny. If you're a Viking dog, this is where you can come get your water.
Before I head out on the guided tour, I decide to walk around a bit and explore the area around the museum, and I certainly feel like I've stepped back in time.
So what we're seeing here is a remake of what a Viking village would have looked like. So you see these little houses here made of all the natural building materials around them. We see little farming areas where they would have grown some food, and we see a little harbour area where the little boats would have been. Obviously, the Vikings built their whole world around the water, so they loved to go out into the lake, go out to sea. They would have obviously done a lot of fishing, and the harbour would have been very important. So it's very interesting to actually stand amongst the structures that they would have lived around and to see what life would have been like. Very, very cool. The Vikings are extremely important for many European cultures, and even my descendants may have been Vikings, because my descendants are from England and from northern mainland Europe, like the Netherlands, and the Vikings conquered a lot of these areas. In fact, if you're someone who's living in England, the Normans, who, you know, many of you know the Battle of Hastings in 1066, where the Normans invaded England. The Normans were Vikings that were kind of given a place in northern France by the King of France to protect mainland France from Viking attacks. The Normans then attacked England, and many of the English surnames, many of the English kings were actually very much influenced by the Norman culture, the Viking culture. So it's very important for people of European descent to know a bit about the Vikings, because the Vikings may have influenced us in some way.
Our tour starts with a walk up a hill towards a grave site where the Vikings used to bury their dead. Our guide tells us that the Vikings used to bury their dead with their possessions, and that because of this, the grave sites have provided extremely useful information to archaeologists and historians over the years. We continue on, and we are told that, although not confirmed yet, it is believed that the remains of the first church building in Sweden could be somewhere on the island. A monument on top of the hill commemorates the Christians that moved here from mainland Europe to live with the Vikings. From up here we get an awesome panoramic view of the island, the museum, and Lake Mälaren.
Well, that was extremely interesting. I mean, I knew that this place was well known as a Viking city, but I didn't realize that it was the first official city in Sweden, and I didn't realize that it had so much history that they'd actually confirmed. Very interesting. And even the fact that this is potentially the site of the very first church in Sweden. I'll be very interested to follow up on that and see if in a few months they can actually confirm that. All of you have got to do now is to head back to the port, hop on the boat, take the boat back to Stockholm, and have a good rest. It's been a long day, but it's been absolutely fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed this adventure with me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.